As a filmmaker, I'm always drawn to stories about women and transformation. So when I heard about a new program being launched in the Adelaide Women's Prison, where prisoners were signing up to foster retired greyhounds, I just knew I have to get in there and make a film about it. Tonight, I'm here with retired racers. This is Steve-O and Rose. Steve-O and Rose were born into kennels, never knowing the sights and sounds of life beyond the track. They were trained only to chase. So until recently, they didn't know their name, how to take food from someone's hand, or even how to walk up steps. The prisoners have just 8 weeks to learn how to transform these institutionalised racers into house-friendly pets. If the prisoners can't make it work, the dogs face an uncertain future and could even be euthanised. I wanted to find out whether the women and the dogs could work together to create a second chance at life. And to my surprise, the Adelaide Women's Prison said yes. I could go into the prison alone with my camera for 4 months to follow the stories of 4 women and their dogs. And that's about the time I started to freak out. I had just spent the last 12 months convincing everyone from the prison to the ABC to my husband that I could go into the prison and make this incredibly inspiring film where the women and the dogs fall in love. And then I thought, what if I get in there and there's just a bunch of women sitting around patting dogs and nothing happens? And what if the prisoners don't like me? I don't even have any tattoos. What do I know about prisons? Absolutely nothing. My only frame of reference was Orange is the New Black. And it was then I remembered I don't even like dogs. I only like Siamese cats, and anyone who knows me knows that about me. This could be a disaster. But then I sucked up all my courage and went along for the first day of shoot. And I met the prisoners. And this changed everything.
There you go. Good boy. I've never really experienced unconditional love. I think that's why dogs are perfect, because especially in here, there's some women, and me included, who've done some really bad things. But we're not bad people, and the dog knows that we're not bad people.
They come in knowing absolutely nothing. Nothing.
Boy, here we go. Last race today.
I was a selfish motherfucker, and that's a reflection of me as a mother being selfish to my kids.
I've got post-traumatic stress disorder from being in violent relationships.
Pull her away, don't yank her.
I know my place in here. I go out there and I just get lost and, you know, what am I, a 50-year-old junkie?
What would you have done differently if you had your chance?
I wouldn't have done it. I've got a 10-year-old daughter and I hopefully want to get out. I'll build a relationship with her.
So moving in race 10, Aston Carbine having its last race tonight, followed after that through the HEP program.
I messed up on the outside, and I will never be able to pay her back.
One of the most surprising things about making the film in the prison was that I really struggled to see the women in there as criminals. Yes, they had lots of tattoos. But to me, they were kind, funny, smart, honest, articulate, and they had incredible insight into themselves and their offending. They welcomed me into their world and they trusted me with their stories. I began to see the very unique position that I was in. I wasn't a social worker, a lawyer, or a correctional officer. My only purpose for being there was to listen, and my camera became a tool for giving them a voice. On the first day of shoot, a new prisoner joined up to the greyhound team. Her name was Deb. She had a really fiery temper, but a heart of gold, and I liked her instantly. Deb had spent a lot of time in prison. In fact, she called it her second home. Deb told me how she'd run away from home when she was just 13 to live on the streets. She became a drug addict at 14 and a mother at 15. In the prison, Deb knew her place, but on the outside, she told me that she gets lost. She was matched with Scotty, who happened to be the most anxious dog in the program. In the very beginning, she couldn't even persuade him to leave the kennel house to go for a walk. Like Deb, Scotty was institutionalised, and they hit it off straight away. Over the next 8 weeks, I saw Deb flourish as a member of the greyhound team. Her typical day would involve getting up every day for morning count at 8 a.m, attending daily dog obedience classes, training and walking Scotty, and helping to manage an 8-dog kennel house. Deb was one of 8 women who were in the greyhound team, and they really did become a team. They had each other's back completely when it came to the program, because they all had that common goal of making sure that their dog would pass the test. Prison has the capacity to harden people, but seeing Deb and Scotty together, Deb became loving, nurturing and protective, all the things that she couldn't be for her kids, perhaps while being in jail. Scotty gave Deb a new sense of purpose and self-confidence. After the 8 weeks of living and training together, Scotty finally passed his big adoption test and went to live with a loving family. And Deb was released early from prison on home detention. She was determined to start a new life for herself on the outside. The prisoners and the dogs had worked together to create a second chance at life, and my filming was complete. I had the perfect ending. Or did I? When I tell people I've been making a film in a women's prison, one of the first things they'll say is, "Oh, that must have been so scary, so confronting." But the truth is, the most confronting part about this whole process has been seeing the sorts of challenges these women are up against once they get out. On the day that Deb was released from prison, all that she had were the clothes on her back that she was arrested in, which was a problem in itself because now they were 2 sizes too small. Going to jail meant that Deb lost her housing trust home and all of her possessions were dumped. On the outside, Deb has no job, which means no reason to get up early, no sense of purpose, no structure, routine, and no income. Deb has 8 children, but when she got out of prison, they didn't want anything to do with her because they were so angry about her going back to jail again. Deb has a large community of friends on the outside, but all of them are drug users. So any form of a social life means being around drugs, the very reason that Deb went to prison in the first place. Deb had hoped to foster a greyhound on the outside because she loved the program so much. But when she got out of prison and was placed in her support accommodation, they didn't have any fencing and they don't allow dogs. So these factors might help explain why Deb returned to the prison 4 times during her 7-month parole period. And that's when the real question of being a documentary filmmaker really kicks in. Once you uncover a serious social problem, what sorts of responsibilities do you have to try to change it? And now that I've developed these close relationships with the women in the film, like Deb, how can I best support them now that the camera's stopped rolling? These are the questions I'm asking myself now, and I'm only just starting to peel back the layers and search for answers. But one thing's certain. I set out to make a film about women and transformation, but it's really me who's been transformed by the experience of making the film. And now I have this film, and I'm determined to do all that I can with it to shine a light on the stories of these women from behind bars. Women like Deb have got incredible potential and could be a real asset and a resource to our community, if we'll let them. The other piece of news I'd like to share is that Deb happens to be here with us tonight, and next week I'll be fostering my first greyhound, Billy. Thank you.